Hi, it's Willie Duggan here, and I'm just a quick short snippet in terms of an insight into a project I worked as project lighting designer on back in 2008, 9, and 10. Now at this stage, which is quite a number of years ago. But it was a it's a fantastic space. I think that the lighting design um, worked out really well in terms of highlighting that space, and it's a really good example of a balanced design. So I think it's a good one to show in terms of trying to articulate how to create balance in your lighting designs. So just a little bit of synopsis in terms of some of the key elements of it. It's King's Cross Western Concourse. Many of you may have been through the space at this stage, but it's the extension on the King's Cross station as such. So it's in central London. The architect was John McCaslin and Partners. I work for a company called GA Equation, who were the lighting consultants on the project. I was the project lighting designer. And as I said, I was working from 2008 to 2010, so a year of completion is 2012. We sort of I was really centrally involved in the concept production and concept design and taking in the overview of the detail design um, as it progressed, such as the project progressed right to site. In terms of some key elements of the project, the aim of the project was to increase King's Cross Station capacity to 40 million passengers a year. The total value of the project was £500 million. That incorporated the train sheds and some of the existing spaces. But I'm really just going to concentrate on the Western Concourse element of it, which is this domed roof structure. It actually became the largest single span station structure in Europe on completion. And it's this diagonal roof structure that we felt was the key feature within the space. So when we looked at the lighting design, we prioritized that first, and it was the accent lighting onto this ceiling that we really felt was the key priority in the lighting design. We were very lucky in terms that we had a space that we could locate projectors that would be hidden from anyone utilizing the concourse floor, the mezzanine area. So we located the projectors on top of the mezzanine. So once you're on the concourse floor, you can't, or the mezzanine, you can't see them. And what's great about that is it's hidden lighting, so it puts all the emphasis on the interior architecture, which is the ceiling itself and that roof structure. The additional advantage of where we were lighting from was that we were lighting from an angle, which creates light shadow and highlights form, which provides a bit of texture to the ceiling surface as well, provides some interest to the space. Another aspect to the concept we had onto the diagonal roof structure was that there would be a spaced color shift in terms of the lighting onto the ceiling would change color throughout the day. In terms of it would start in the morning as bluer light, it would shift to much whiter light in the middle of the day, and then shift back to a bluer light in the evening. The philosophy behind that was that dynamic nature of the lighting onto the ceiling was that the ceiling would react to the rhythms of the station throughout the day. So in the morning, when you're through at rush hour, it would appear in a certain way. In the middle of the day, it would appear a little bit different, much wider ceiling. In the evening, it would appear much bluer as well. So there was a real interaction between the dynamic of the traffic through the station, time of the day, and actually the presentation of lighting onto the ceiling. Um, it sort of mimicked daylight. Like daylight starts a much warmer color temperature in the morning. It changes to a much cooler in the middle of the day, and then back to a warmer in the evening. So there's a sort of certain relationship to daylight there also. As part of the accent lighting, we uplit the vortex, which is in front of the train sheds. Um, and there was two elements to this. One was it's a key feature, and like the way that diagonal roof structure sort of comes into a vortex in front of the train shed is a key feature. So it was very important we felt to light this. But second of all, it's right in front of the key interaction points, which are the train shed and the platforms themselves, which are key interaction points. By lighting the vortex in front of this, it helps to enable intuitive navigation towards these key places people need to get to. So there was certainly a navigational aspect to it as well. So when we're designing in this sort of layered approach, we pick what we feel is the most priority in terms of the design. which, as I said, is the accent light in the ceiling. But then anything after that needs to be in sympathy to what we designed already. So when we looked at the task lighting for the mezzanine, which is restaurant and retail, we needed to ensure that whatever we did there was in sympathy to what we've done onto the ceiling. So what we did and what we were very mindful to do was to have load layer fittings, try to step fittings back from the edge of the mezzanine, and just try to keep them as subtle and concealed as possible so that they didn't take away from that lighting onto the ceiling. The third element we looked at was the ambient lighting. So is the space bright enough and is it safe to use? The real vision here was most of the ambient lighting will be reflected light from the ceiling. And it would be a couple of additional projectors, but in really sort of concealed locations, so they weren't detracting from the lighting onto the ceiling as such. So a little bit contentious here, and a number of design teams, particularly when we got to detail design, were quite nervous that we wouldn't get the levels that we needed on the concourse floor. There were proposals, you can see in this rendering from 2009, there were proposals to put projectors on the ceiling to try and ensure that the light levels were achieved. Now, we were strongly opposed to this because we were pretty clear in our concept what we were trying to achieve, and that was that this ceiling became the key feature. And that enable us to be strong, having that clarity. So we actually took back the detail design at this stage, quite a number of late nights, doing a series amount of different configurations of projectors with different aiming angles to try and get the best configuration to ensure that we achieved the minimum illumination level, which was 200 lux in the middle of the concourse floor. We achieved that. We presented that to the team, and it was signed off on. And I suppose we feel that having that clarity in terms of what we were trying to achieve, in terms of what was the key focus, which was for us that ceiling, enabled us to be strong where we needed to be, to achieve what I feel is a really balanced design. It functions, like it works very well from a functional point of view, but it looks fantastic. And the ceiling, which is the key feature, is what stands out. And that's key to lighting design, really, is that balance. They say it's the balance of art and science. I think King's Cross Western Concourse is a really good example of that. It's that balance of that aesthetic, that artistic element, which is so important because it touches you on an emotional level, and it really makes it a memorable experience to be in the space. But obviously it also has got to function. It's got to be easy to navigate, and you've got to have enough illumination levels to keep it safe. So yeah, I feel we achieved that in King's Cross Western Concourse.